The morning sun came through the big windows of Kensington Palace, but William and Kate did not see how bright it was. They sat at their breakfast table looking at each other, but nobody was talking, as usually they would laugh and chat about their day, but today was different. Last night they got some very bad news about Kate's health, and they were both scared. William looked at Kate's face and saw how worried she was. He reached over and took her hand in his. He wanted to cry, but he tried to be strong for her. The phone call had come at 8 in the evening when they were helping their children with homework. Kate's doctor had asked them to come to his office the next morning to discuss some test results. The way he spoke made them both feel afraid. Kate had been feeling tired for weeks, but she thought it was just from being busy with royal duties. She had been to see the doctor 3 times, and each time he seemed more concerned. William watched his wife try to smile at their children during dinner, but he could see the fear in her eyes. That night they lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Neither of them could sleep. Kate kept thinking about what the doctor might tell them, and William kept thinking about how to protect his family. They had been through many hard times together since they got married. The press had written mean things about them, and they had faced criticism from the public. But this felt different. This was about Kate's health, and that scared William. More than anything else in the world, Kate got up early and made tea for both of them. She stood by the window, looking out at the garden where their children played every day. William came up behind her and put his arms around her. They stood there together watching the gardeners work on the flower beds. Everything looked so normal. Outside, but inside the palace, their world felt like it was falling apart. Kate leaned back against William's chest and felt his heart beating fast. She knew he was as scared as she was. The breakfast table was set with their usual things: fresh fruit, toast, jam, and the morning newspapers. But neither of them wanted to eat. The newspapers had stories about their upcoming royal visits and charity work. Kate looked at the pictures of herself from last week and wondered if people could see that she was not feeling well. She had been trying so hard to look happy and healthy in public. William picked up his coffee cup, but his hands were shaking a little. Their children came running into the breakfast room full of energy and excitement about school. George was telling them about a football match, and Charlotte was showing them a drawing she had made. Louis was trying to tie his shoes by himself. Kate watched her children and felt her heart breaking. She wondered how they would explain things to them if the news was very bad. William saw the tears starting to form in Kate's eyes, and he quickly started talking to the children about their day to distract them. After the children left for school, the palace became very quiet. William and Kate sat at the table again, and this time they could not pretend everything was okay. Kate's hands were shaking as she picked up her teacup. William reached across the table and covered her hands with his. Neither of them said anything, but they both knew they were thinking the same thing. They were afraid of what the doctor would tell them, and they were afraid of how it would change their lives. The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the silence. Kate looked at William and saw that his eyes were red from trying not to cry. She had never seen him look so worried before. Even when they had problems with the press or difficulties with royal duties, William always stayed calm and strong. But now she could see that he was scared too. This made her feel even more frightened, because William was always the one who made her feel safe. William stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the street where photographers sometimes waited to take pictures of their family. Today there were no photographers there. Everything looked peaceful and normal. But inside the palace, nothing felt normal anymore. He thought about all the things they had planned to do together, the royal tours they would take, the charity work they wanted to continue, watching their children grow up. All of those things suddenly seemed uncertain. Kate joined him at the window, and they stood side by side. She took his hand and squeezed it tight. They both knew that in a few hours they would go to the doctor's office, and their lives might change forever. But right now they were together, and that was all that mattered. William turned to look at his wife and saw how brave she was trying to be. Even though she was scared, she was still thinking about him and their children. This made him love her even more, and also made him more determined to be strong for her. The morning sun got brighter outside. But inside the palace, William and Kate felt like they were in darkness. They knew that whatever happened next, they would face it together. They had promised each other many years ago that they would be there for each other in good times and bad times. Now they were about to find out just how strong that promise really was. The phone rang, and it was time to get ready to go to the doctor's office. They looked at each other one more time, and both tried to smile. Then they went upstairs to get dressed for what might be the most important appointment of their lives. The doctor's office felt cold. Even though the heating was on, Kate sat in the leather chair next to William and watched Dr. Morrison arrange papers on his desk. She could hear her heart beating very fast, and her mouth felt dry. William reached over and took her hand, but she could feel that his palm was sweaty too. They had been waiting for this moment since yesterday evening, and now it was here. Dr. Morrison looked up at them with kind eyes, but Kate could see he had serious news to tell them. Dr. Morrison had been Kate's doctor for 3 years, and he knew her well. He had delivered good news before about small health problems, but today his face looked different. He cleared his throat and began to speak in a gentle voice. He told them that the test results showed something that needed immediate attention. Kate felt like the room was spinning around her. William squeezed her hand tighter, and she was grateful that he was there beside her. The doctor used some medical words that Kate did not understand, but she understood enough to know that this was serious. The doctor explained that Kate would need to start treatment right away. He showed them a calendar and pointed to different dates when she would need to come to the hospital. Kate looked at all the red marks on the calendar and felt overwhelmed. There were so many appointments and treatments planned. William asked questions about each step and wrote down the answers in his notebook. Kate watched him being so organized and strong, and she felt proud of him. But she also felt scared because she could see worry in his eyes even though he was trying to hide it. Kate asked the doctor if she could still do her royal duties and take care of her children. Dr. Morrison looked at her with understanding and said that some things would need to change. He explained that the treatment would make her feel very tired, and she would need to rest more than usual. Kate felt tears starting to form in her eyes. She had worked so hard to be a good princess, and now she might not be able to do all the things people expected of her. William saw her getting upset and put his arm around her shoulders. The doctor gave them a folder full of papers to take home. He said they should read everything carefully and call him if they had any questions. Kate looked at the thick folder and felt like crying. There was so much information and so many things to think about. The doctor also gave them the name of a counselor who helped people going through similar situations. He said it was normal to feel scared and confused, and that talking to someone might help. Kate nodded, but she wasn't sure if she wanted to talk to a stranger about her problems. When they left the doctor's office, Kate felt like she was walking in a dream. Everything around her seemed strange and different. The cars on the street looked too bright, and the people walking by seemed to be moving too fast. William held her arm as they walked to their car because she felt a little dizzy. Their driver Thomas was waiting for them, and Kate could see in his eyes that he was worried about them. Thomas had been driving them for many years, and he cared about their family like they were his own family. The drive back to the palace was very quiet. Kate stared out the window at the city going by, but she was not really seeing anything. She was thinking about all the things the doctor had told them and trying to understand what it all meant. William sat beside her, looking at the papers from the doctor and making notes. Kate could see that he was already making plans and trying to figure out how to handle everything. This was what William always did when there was a problem. He would think of solutions and make lists and try to fix things. Back at the palace, Kate went straight to their bedroom and sat on the bed. She felt exhausted, even though it was still early in the afternoon. William came and sat beside her, and they looked at each other without saying anything. Kate could see that William was trying to be brave for her, but she knew he was scared too. She leaned against him and felt his arm go around her. They sat like that for a long time, just holding each other and trying to accept what was happening to them. William finally spoke and said they needed to make some decisions. He said they would need to tell their children something, but they should think carefully about what to say. Kate agreed, but she felt worried about scaring the children. They also needed to decide what to tell the palace staff and when to make an announcement to the public. Kate felt overwhelmed by all these decisions. She had never had to deal with anything like this before, and she did not know how to handle it. Kate looked at the folder of papers. sitting on their dresser, and felt angry for the first time since this started. She was angry that this was happening to her, and angry that it was happening to their family. She was angry that their normal life was being turned upside down, and that she might not be able to be the mother and wife she wanted to be. William saw the anger in her face, and he understood. He felt angry too, but he knew that being angry would not help them get through this. The afternoon sun was coming through their bedroom window, and Kate realized that just this morning, everything had seemed normal. Now nothing would ever be the same again. She thought about their children who were still at school, not knowing that their mother was sick. She thought about all the people who would be affected by this news, and all the plans that would have to change. But mostly she thought about William, and how lucky she was to have him with her. Whatever happened next, they would face it together, and that gave her some comfort in the middle of all her fear. The long hallway at Kensington Palace felt different to William as he walked alone. His footsteps echoed off the walls, and the sound seemed louder than usual. Kate was upstairs in their bedroom, resting like the doctor had told her to do. She had been sleeping a lot since they came back from the hospital appointment 3 days ago. William missed hearing her laugh and seeing her smile. The palace felt too quiet, without her voice filling the rooms with warmth and happiness. William had just finished a meeting with his private secretary about changing their royal schedule. They needed to cancel many events and visits that Kate was supposed to attend. The secretary had asked many questions about how long Kate would be unable to work, and William did not have good answers. He did not want to tell anyone too much about Kate's condition, but he knew people would start to wonder why she was not appearing in public. The pressure of keeping their private life secret while managing public expectations felt very heavy. As William walked past the staff rooms, he could hear the workers talking quietly. They were worried about Kate, and they were trying to be respectful by speaking in low voices. William appreciated their concern, but it also made him feel sad. Everyone in the palace loved Kate because she was always kind to them, and remembered their names and asked about their families. Now they were all worried about her, and William could see the concern in their eyes when they looked at him. William stopped outside Kate's private study. This was the room where she worked on her charity projects and wrote letters to people who needed help. He rarely went into this room because it was Kate's special space, but today he felt drawn to it. He opened the door slowly and stepped inside. The room smelled like Kate's perfume, and there were photos of their children on her desk. William sat in her chair and looked around at all the things that made Kate happy. On Kate's desk, there were letters from children who had written to her about their problems. There were also thank you cards from families she had helped through her charity work. William picked up one of the letters and read it. It was from a little girl who had been sick, and Kate had visited her in the hospital. The girl had drawn a picture of Kate wearing a crown and holding flowers. At the bottom, she had written, "Thank you for making me feel better, Princess Kate." William felt tears in his eyes as he read the innocent words. William looked through more of the letters and cards on Kate's desk. Each one told a story of someone Kate had helped or inspired. There were photos from hospital visits, letters from young mothers who looked up to Kate, and drawings from children who saw her as a hero. William realized that Kate had touched so many lives with her kindness, and now she was the one who needed help. It seemed unfair that someone who gave so much to others was now suffering. The afternoon light came through the window, and William noticed Kate's appointment book lying open on her desk. He could see all the events and meetings she had planned for the next few months. There were hospital visits, charity fundraisers, school openings, and meetings with important people. Each entry was written in Kate's neat handwriting with little notes about what she wanted to accomplish. William felt overwhelmed looking at all the commitments Kate would not be able to keep. William heard footsteps in the hallway and quickly closed the appointment book. He did not want Kate to find him in her study looking through her things, but it was only one of the housekeepers walking by. William realized he was being silly. Kate would not mind him being in her study. She shared everything with him, and she would understand that he needed to feel close to her while she was resting. But still, he felt like he was invading her privacy. On the bookshelf, William saw photo albums that Kate had made over the years. He pulled one out and opened it too. Find pictures of their family vacations and special moments. There were photos of Kate playing with their children, pictures from their wedding day, and snapshots of quiet moments at home. William looked at a photo of Kate laughing while she pushed Louis on a swing. Her face was full of joy, and her eyes were bright with happiness. William wondered when she would look that carefree again. William's phone buzzed with a text message from his brother, Harry, asking how Kate was feeling. William stared at the message for a long time before answering. He wanted to tell Harry the truth about how scared he was and how worried he felt about Kate, but he also knew that Kate wanted to keep her condition private until they were ready to make an announcement. William typed back a simple message saying that Kate was resting and they would talk more soon. The study felt peaceful, and William understood why Kate liked to spend time here. It was filled with reminders of all the good things she had done and all the people she had helped. William thought about how Kate always put other people's needs before her own. She worked long hours at charity events and spent her free time writing letters to people who needed encouragement. Now she was the one who needed encouragement, and William wanted to make sure she got all the love and support she had given to others. William stood up from Kate's desk and walked to the window. He could see the garden where Kate liked to walk in the mornings. She would often go out there with her coffee and think about her day. William missed those quiet moments when he would watch her from their bedroom window as she moved between the flower beds. The garden looked empty without her there, and William hoped she would be strong enough to walk there again soon. As William prepared to leave Kate's study, he took one more look around the room. This space represented everything that was good about Kate: her compassion, her dedication to helping others, and her love for their family. William knew that Kate would get through this difficult time because she was strong and brave. But he also knew that she would need all of his love and support to help her fight this battle. William turned off the light and closed the door softly behind him, then walked upstairs to check on his sleeping wife. The palace staff moved more quietly than usual through the hallways. Everyone knew that Princess Kate was not feeling well, and they wanted to be respectful. The housekeepers spoke in whispers when they cleaned the rooms near where Kate was resting. The cooks prepared her favorite foods, hoping she would eat something. Even the gardeners outside worked more quietly than normal. William noticed how much everyone cared about Kate, and it made him feel grateful but also more worried. William had asked his staff to keep Kate's condition private for now. He did not want reporters to find out before they were ready to tell the public, but keeping such a big secret felt very difficult. Every time someone asked him where Kate was or why she had missed an event, William had to make up reasons. Said she had a cold or was taking a short break. William hated lying to people, but he knew Kate needed time to get stronger before dealing with public attention. The children came home from school every day asking where their mother was. William tried to explain that Kate was not feeling well, without scaring them. George was old enough to understand that something serious was happening. He kept asking detailed questions that William found hard to answer. Charlotte seemed confused about why her mother was sleeping so much during the day. Louis was too young to understand, but he kept looking for Kate in all the rooms where she usually spent time. William's phone rang constantly with calls from palace officials, government ministers, and charity organizations. Everyone wanted to know when Kate would return to her royal duties. William felt frustrated because he could not give them the answers they wanted. He did not know how long Kate's treatment would take or when she would feel strong enough to work again. Each phone call reminded him of how much people depended on Kate, and how hard it would be to replace her at important events. The family doctor visited Kate every few days to check on her progress. William always sat with Kate during these visits and asked many questions. The doctor was patient and kind, but William could see concern in his eyes too. Kate's treatment was making her feel very tired and sick. Some days she could not get out of bed at all. William watched his strong wife become weak and fragile, and it broke his heart. He felt helpless because there was nothing he could do to make her feel better. William tried to maintain his own royal schedule, but it was very difficult to concentrate on work. During meetings, he would think about Kate lying in bed feeling sick. When he attended public events, he would smile and wave at people, but inside he felt empty and scared. The photographers took pictures of him looking serious in the newspapers, started writing stories about why he seemed worried. William knew he needed to be more careful about hiding his emotions in public. At night, William would lie awake listening to Kate breathe. Sometimes she would have bad dreams and call out in her sleep. William would hold her hand and whisper that everything would be okay, but he was not sure if he believed his own words. The future felt so uncertain, and William had always been someone who liked to plan ahead. Now he could not plan anything because he did not know what would happen from day to day. Kate's appetite had almost disappeared since starting her treatment. The palace cooks prepared special meals that were supposed to be easy to eat, but Kate barely touched them. William would sit with her at mealtimes and encourage her to eat just a few bites. He remembered how Kate used to enjoy cooking with their children and trying new recipes. Now she could barely look at food without feeling sick. William missed seeing Kate enjoy simple pleasures like a good meal or a cup of tea. The palace felt different without Kate's energy and laughter. She had always been the one who made everyone feel welcome and happy. She would stop to chat with the staff and ask about their families. She would play games with the children and fill the rooms with music and joy. Now the palace felt like a sad and serious place. William tried to keep things normal for their children, but he knew they could feel the change in atmosphere. 2. William's mother, the Queen, called him every day to ask about Kate's condition. She offered to help with the children and to take over some of Kate's royal duties. William appreciated her support, but he also felt pressure to keep everything running smoothly. The Queen had been dealing with royal crises for many years, and she gave William advice about managing the situation. But William felt like this was different because it was so personal and emotional. Friends and family members wanted to visit Kate, but William had to limit visitors because she needed rest. Kate's parents came to see her often, and they were very worried about their daughter. William could see the pain in their eyes when they looked at Kate. Her mother would hold Kate's hand and cry quietly. Her father would try to tell jokes too, make Kate smile, but his voice would shake with emotion. William felt sorry for them because they wanted to help but felt as helpless as he did. The hardest part for William was watching Kate try to be brave and positive when she felt terrible. She would apologize for being sick and worry about letting people down. Kate felt guilty about missing royal events and disappointing the charities she supported. William told her over and over that none of this was her fault and that her only job was to get better. But Kate had spent so many years putting other people first that she could not stop worrying about everyone else, even when she was the one who needed care. William realized that he had taken for granted all the ways Kate made their life better. She was not just his wife and the mother of their children. She was also his best friend, his partner in royal duties, and the person who made him laugh every day. Without her healthy and happy presence, William felt like he was only half of himself. He promised himself that when Kate got better, he would never forget how precious and important she was to him and to everyone who loved her. Weeks had passed since Kate began her treatment, and William could see small changes in her strength. Some days were better than others. On good days, Kate would sit up in bed and read books or watch movies with the children. On bad days, she would sleep most of the time and barely eat anything. William learned to recognize the signs of how Kate was feeling just by looking at her face. He became an expert at reading her moods and knowing what she needed before she even asked. Kate showed incredible courage during her treatment that both amazed and worried William. Even when she felt terrible, she would try to smile when the children came to see her. She would ask them about their school day and help them with homework when she had enough energy. William watched Kate push herself to be a good mother even when she could barely keep her eyes open. Her determination to stay involved in their children's lives made William love her even more, but also made him afraid. She was not resting enough. The doctors had told them that Kate's treatment would take several months and that some days would be harder than others. William tried to prepare himself for the difficult times, but nothing could have prepared him for seeing Kate so weak and sick. There were days when Kate could not get out of bed at all, and William would bring her meals on a tray. He would sit beside her bed and read to her, or just hold her hand while she slept. These quiet moments together became very precious to William. William started planning small surprises to make Kate feel better on her worst days. He would bring her favorite flowers from the garden, or make her a cup of the special tea she loved. Sometimes he would play her favorite music softly in their bedroom, or bring her letters from friends who were thinking about her. William also arranged for Kate to have video calls with her closest friends when she felt well enough to talk. These little gestures seemed small, but they made Kate smile, and that was all William cared about. The children were learning to adapt to having their mother sick. George had become very protective of Kate and would quietly check on her several times a day. Charlotte would draw pictures for her mother and leave them on Kate's bedside table. Louis would bring Kate his favorite stuffed animals to keep her company. William watched his children show such love and concern for their mother, and he felt proud of how caring they were. But he also worried about how this experience was affecting them. Kate's parents visited almost every day, and William could see how much they were suffering watching their daughter go through this ordeal. Kate's mother would sit with her for hours, just holding her hand and talking about happy memories. Kate's father would try to make Kate laugh by telling her funny stories about things that happened when she was little. William appreciated their support, but he also felt sad seeing how much pain they were in. Everyone who loved Kate was struggling. With fear and worry, William had to make difficult decisions about Kate's royal duties and public appearances. The palace staff kept asking when Kate would be ready to return to work, and William had to tell them he did not know. Some charity events had to be canceled, and other family members had to step in to replace Kate at important functions. William felt the pressure of managing both his own royal duties and trying to cover for Kate's absence. The workload felt overwhelming some days. The media had started to notice that Kate was not appearing in public as much as usual. Reporters were asking questions about her health, and William knew they would not be able to keep the situation private much longer. William and Kate had several discussions about when and how to tell the public about her condition. Kate worried about how people would react and whether they would lose confidence in her ability to do royal duties. William assured her that people would be supportive and understanding. On Kate's better days, she would worry about all the people she was letting down by being sick. She would apologize to William for not being able to help with the children or attend royal events. William would tell her that her only job was to get better and that everything else could wait. But Kate had spent so many years putting others first that she found it very hard to focus on her own needs. William admired her selflessness, but also wished she would be more selfish about her recovery. William found himself becoming more emotional than he had ever been before. He would sometimes cry when he was alone in his office or when he was driving to appointments. Seeing Kate suffer made William realize how much he depended on her strength and happiness. He had always thought of himself as the strong one in their relationship, but now he understood that Kate was his source of strength. Without her healthy and happy presence, William felt lost and scared. The palace felt different during Kate's illness. The staff moved more quietly and spoke in whispers. The children played more quietly and seemed to understand that their mother needed peace and rest. William tried to maintain normal routines, but everything felt strange and sad without Kate's energy and laughter filling the rooms. William missed hearing Kate sing while she got ready in the morning and seeing her dance with the children in the evening. William's relationship with Kate became even deeper during this difficult time. It had always been close, but now they shared a different kind of intimacy. William would help Kate with simple tasks like brushing her hair or helping her walk to the bathroom. These moments of caring for Kate made William feel closer to her than ever before. He realized that true love meant being there for each other during the hardest times, not just the happy times. As weeks turned into months, William began to see small signs of improvement in Kate's condition. She was able to stay awake for longer. Periods and her appetite slowly started to return. The doctors were cautiously optimistic about her progress, and this gave William hope. But he also knew that Kate's recovery would be slow, and that they still had a long journey ahead of them. William was determined to be patient and supportive for as long as Kate needed him to be her strength and her hope. William was sitting at his desk trying to focus on important papers when he heard footsteps in the hallway outside his office. He looked up expecting to see one of the palace staff, but instead he saw Kate standing in the doorway. For a moment, William felt worried because Kate was supposed to be resting in bed. But then he noticed something different about her face. She was crying, but she was also smiling at the same time. William had never seen Kate look quite like this before. Kate walked slowly toward William's desk, and he could see that her hands were shaking. She was holding what looked like a large envelope with the royal seal on it. William stood up quickly and went to Kate to make sure she was okay. She seemed stronger than she had been in weeks, but she was clearly very emotional about something. Kate's eyes were red from crying, but there was also a brightness in them that William had not seen since before she got sick. Kate sat down in the chair next to William's desk and held the envelope against her chest. She took a deep breath and told William that the palace mailroom had delivered something very special to her. Kate explained that the envelope contained hundreds of letters from people all around the world who had heard about her illness. William was surprised because they had tried so hard to keep Kate's condition private, but somehow word had gotten out and people had started writing to her. Kate opened the envelope with trembling fingers and pulled out a thick stack of letters and cards. Some were written on fancy paper, and others were written on simple notebook paper. There were letters from children, grandparents, other mothers, and people from every walk of life. Kate picked up the first letter and began to read it out loud to William. Her voice shook as she read the kind words from a stranger who wanted Kate to know that she was praying for her recovery. The letter was from a woman in Australia who had gone through a similar health problem 5 years earlier. Quote that she understood how scared Kate must be feeling and wanted her to know that she was not alone. The woman shared her own story of recovery and told Kate that there was hope even in the darkest moments. Kindness to others had inspired her to write and offer support. William felt tears forming in his eyes as he listened to Kate read. Kate picked up another letter, and this one was from a group of school children in Canada. They had heard that Princess Kate was not feeling well, and they wanted to send her their love. Each child in the class had written a short message and drawn a picture. One little boy had drawn Kate wearing her tiara and surrounded by rainbows. A little girl had written, "Get well soon, Princess Kate, we love you," in crayon with hearts around the words. Kate's voice broke as she read each innocent message from the children. There were letters from other countries, too. A family in Japan had sent Kate a beautiful card with cherry blossoms on it. A grandmother from Ireland had knitted a small blanket and sent it with a note saying she hoped it would keep Kate warm during her recovery. A young mother from South Africa had written about how Kate's work with children's charities had inspired her to volunteer at a local hospital. Each letter told a different story, but they all had the same message of love and support. William watched Kate's face as she read through more of the letters. He could see that each message was touching her heart in a deep way. Kate had always cared about other people, but now she was experiencing their care for her. William realized that Kate had spent so many years giving love and support to others that she had forgotten how much people loved her in return. These letters were showing her that her kindness had not gone unnoticed. One letter that particularly moved Kate was from a teenage girl who had been battling cancer for 2 years. The girl wrote that seeing Kate's courage during her own health struggle had given her strength to keep fighting. She said that if a princess could be brave during difficult times, then she could be brave too. The girl thanked Kate for being a role model and showing that it was okay to be scared, but still, keep going. Kate cried as she read this letter because she had not realized that her experience could help other people. There were also letters from medical professionals who wanted to encourage Kate. Doctors and nurses from hospitals around the world had written to share their expertise and offer hope. They explained that treatments had improved greatly in recent years and that many people made full recoveries. These letters gave Kate and William factual information that helped ease some of their fears about the future. Knowledge from experts felt comforting and reassuring. Kate found letters from other members of royal families and famous people, but the ones that meant the most to her were from ordinary people. A bus driver from London had written that he thought about Kate every day during his route. A teacher from America had told her students about Kate's situation, and they had all sent drawings and poems. An elderly man from Scotland had sent a pressed flower from his garden with a note saying he hoped Kate would be able to enjoy gardens again soon. As Kate continued reading the letters, William could see a change happening in her. The fear and sadness that had been in her eyes for weeks was being replaced by something else. It was hope mixed with gratitude and love. Kate was realizing that she was not alone in this fight, and that thousands of people around the world were supporting her and believing in her recovery. The letters were like a door opening to let light into the darkness Kate had been feeling. Kate looked up at William with tears streaming down her face, but now they were tears of joy and gratitude rather than sadness and fear. She said that she had never imagined that so many people cared about her and her family. The letters made her feel connected to the world again after weeks of feeling isolated by her illness. Kate realized that her struggle had touched people's hearts, and that gave her a new reason to fight and get better. William sat beside Kate and held her hand as she continued to read through the letters. He felt amazed by the kindness of strangers and grateful that Kate was receiving so much love and support. The letters had given Kate something that all of William's love and care could not provide. They'd given her hope and the knowledge that her life mattered to people she had never even met. This was the turning point in Kate's recovery, when she began to believe that everything would be okay.